This is Max and Mia podcast.
If you have ever watched a movie in English and thought, wait, what did they just say? Or you have been in a conversation with a native speaker and completely lost track because they speak too fast. Or maybe you mix up words like though, through, and tough, and honestly have no idea which one is which. Then you are in the right place. This podcast was made for you. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Max and Mia podcast. I'm Max, and as always, really happy to have you here with us today.
And I'm Mia. Whether you are joining us for the first time or you have been here from the beginning, honestly, thank you. It genuinely means a lot to us that you keep coming back.
It really does. And if you are new here, just so you know, this is a space where we talk about real English. Not just grammar rules, but the kind of English you actually hear and use every day.
Exactly. We keep things simple, clear, and hopefully a little fun along the way. So make yourself comfortable because today we have something really interesting for you.
So, today we've got two great guests who've been on the channel before, Matthew and Rachel. They'll be with us for the whole episode.
All right, let's get into it.
Hey, good to be back. Always a pleasure.
Hi, everyone. Really happy to be here again. And I already have a feeling today is going to be one of those episodes where a lot of people go, oh, so that is how you say it.
Yeah, honestly. So today we are tackling something that even intermediate learners struggle with way more than they should have to. And I say that with absolutely no judgment because these words are genuinely confusing.
They really are. We are talking about words like tough, though, thought, through, words that look almost identical on paper but sound completely different when you say them out loud.
Right. And the frustrating part is that there is no single rule that explains all of them. English just decided to spell them all the same way and then pronounce them however it felt like.
Which is very on brand for English, honestly. But do not worry, because by the end of this, we are going to make sure each one clicks for you. Not just the meaning, but how to actually say it without second-guessing yourself.
All right, so where do we start? I'm thinking tough first, since it's probably the one people mispronounce the most.
Good call. So, tough. T-O-U-G-H. And if you are looking at that for the first time, you might think it sounds like tauga or maybe toughga, something like that.
Yeah, none of those are right. So the actual pronunciation is tough, just like the word stuff or rough. That O-U-G-H at the end, it makes an uff sound here.
Exactly. And in terms of meaning, tough basically means something is hard or difficult, not physically hard like a rock, but more like challenging. You could say, that exam was really tough, or it has been a tough week.
It can also describe a person, like someone who is strong, who doesn't give up easily. She's tough, nothing really gets to her, that kind of thing.
Right. So to remember it, I always think of it this way. Tough rhymes with stuff, and tough stuff is hard to deal with. A bit silly, but it works.
No, I like that actually. Simple connections are the ones that stick. All right, next one, though. Same letters, completely different sound and meaning.
Yeah, this one trips people up all the time. So though is pronounced like though. It rhymes with go or no. The O-U-G-H at the end is completely silent here.
Which is exactly why people get frustrated. Same letters, different rules. But the meaning of though is closer to however or even so. It's used to introduce a contrast, like I was tired, though I still finished the work.
Or you might hear it at the end of a sentence too, which is very common in spoken English. Someone might say, it was a good movie, pretty long though. That though at the end softens the contrast, makes it sound more natural and conversational.
Exactly. Very common in everyday speech. Now, thought. This one is the past tense of think, which most people know, but the pronunciation catches a lot of learners off guard.
Right, because thought is pronounced like thought. It rhymes with caught or bought. That ough this time makes a completely different sound again.
I know. It sounds unfair. But here is a way to remember it. I thought, I caught, I bought. They all rhyme. They all end in that same ought sound, and they are all past tense verbs. So you can kind of group them together in your head.
Oh, I really like that. And lastly, through. This one means moving from one side to the other, going inside something and coming out the other end. Like, she walked through the door, or we drove through the tunnel.
And it is pronounced like through, just like the word true or blue. So even though it is spelled Through, it sounds nothing like what it looks like on paper.
Which at this point should not surprise anyone. But honestly, through comes up constantly in everyday English. So it is one of those words worth getting comfortable with early on.
Absolutely. So just to recap before we move on, tough sounds like tough and means difficult. Though sounds like though and means however. Thought sounds like thought and is the past of think. And through sounds like through and means from one side to the other.
4 words, 4 completely different sounds, same letters. Welcome to English.
But now you know, and knowing is honestly half the battle with these. So what we want to do now is let you hear these words in action, in a real conversation, the way you would actually come across them.
Because reading about them is one thing, but hearing them in context, that is where it really starts to make sense. So let's play that for you right now.
Hey, finally. I've been trying to reach you for like 2 weeks.
I know. I am so sorry. This move has just completely taken over my life.
How is it going, though? Like, honestly, because the last time we talked, you sounded pretty overwhelmed.
Yeah, I was. I mean, I thought moving to a new city would be exciting, and it is, but it is also just a lot. More than I expected, honestly.
What has been the hardest part?
Finding a routine, I think. Like, back home, everything was just automatic. I knew where to go, who to call, what to do. Here, I have to figure everything out from scratch. Even simple things like finding a good grocery store, finding a gym that is not ridiculously expensive.
That is tough. I remember when I moved to Portland, I spent the first month just feeling completely lost, like geographically and emotionally.
Yes, exactly that. And the work side of things has been tough too. The team is great, do not get me wrong, but learning a whole new system, new faces, new dynamics, it takes time.
How are your coworkers, though? Are they at least friendly?
They are, yeah. There's this one woman, she's kind of taken me under her wing a little bit. She's been through the same thing, moved here from out of state a few years back, so she gets it.
Oh, that is really nice. Having someone who has already been through it makes a big difference.
It really does. She told me the first 3 months are the toughest, and that after that, it starts to feel more like home. I am holding on to that.
That sounds about right. And your apartment? Is it everything you thought it would be?
Mostly. It is smaller than it looked in the photos, which should have seen that coming, honestly. But the building is nice, and the neighborhood is really walkable, so I've been walking through the area a lot on weekends just to get familiar with it.
That is a good way to do it. Just walk around, find your spots.
Yeah, I found this little coffee place the other day, completely by accident. Walked through this side street, and there it was. No sign, no social media, nothing. Just a tiny place with incredible coffee.
See, that's the good stuff. That's what makes a city yours.
That's actually exactly what I thought when I sat down there. Like, okay, maybe this is going to be fine.
It's gonna be way better than fine. Give it time.
I hope you're right. Though I have to say, right now, I would kill for one of those Sunday lunches back home.
Yeah, those you're not gonna find anywhere else. That's just home.
All right, so did you catch them? All 4 words in there? Tough, though, thought, through. And the thing is, none of them felt forced, right? They just came up naturally in the conversation, which is exactly how it works in real life.
And if you missed one or two, honestly, do not stress about it. Go back, play it again. That is literally what the audio is there for. There is no shame in rewinding.
None at all. Actually, the more times you listen, the more your ear just starts to lock in. You stop thinking about the spelling, and you just hear the word for what it is.
Exactly. And that is kind of the whole point of everything we do here. Less overthinking, more listening. Okay, so shall we move on? Because the next topic is one I am really looking forward to.
So the other day, I was watching the Peaky Blinders film, and at some point, I just paused it and thought, okay, if I were still learning English, this accent would stop me cold.
Oh, without a doubt. And just for context, the show is set in Birmingham, England, so the characters speak with a very strong Birmingham accent. It is nothing like the English most learners are used to hearing.
Nothing at all. It has this very particular rhythm to it. The vowels sit in a completely different place, and words you think you know can start to sound almost unrecognizable. Even people who are fairly comfortable with English sometimes have to really lean in.
And that is kind of the reality of it, right? You can spend months training your ear on one accent, and then the moment someone speaks differently, it's like starting from zero, which is not fair, but it's how it works.
Exactly. So we thought, why not bring that here? We put together a coffee shop scene, as simple and everyday as it gets. The vocabulary is nothing new. The only thing that changes is the accent, and that's the whole point. Think of it as a little ear test. No pressure, no score, just see how much lands. Here we go.
Good morning. What can I get for you today?
Good morning. Could I get a flat white, please? Medium size, if you do them.
Absolutely, we do. Would you like that with full fat milk or something else? We have oat and almond as well.
Oat milk would be brilliant, thank you. I've been meaning to ask, is this a new place? I've walked past a fair few times, but I've never actually come in before today.
Not that new, to be fair. We've been open just over a year now. It does take a while for people to find us. We're a bit tucked away down this end of the street.
That explains it. I work just round the corner, but I tend to rush straight to the office in the mornings. I thought I'd give myself a bit more time today.
Well, it's good to have you. Are you having it here or taking it away?
Here, I think. I don't have to be in until 9:30, so I've got a little while. It's quite a nice spot, actually. I like that it's not too loud.
Yeah, we keep the music fairly low on purpose. Some people just want a bit of quiet in the morning, and I reckon that's fair enough. Can I take a name for the order?
Harriet, please.
Brilliant. And would you like anything to go with that? We've got a few pastries in if you fancy something. The almond croissants are fresh in this morning.
Oh, go on then, I'll have one of those. That's exactly the sort of thing I shouldn't be having every morning, but as a one-off, it's fine.
That's what everyone says, and then they're back in the next day. I don't blame them, honestly, they're quite good.
I can imagine. I'll try to hold out, but no promises. How much is that altogether?
That's $6.40, please.
There you go, keep the change.
That's very kind. I'll bring that over to you in just a moment.
Lovely, thank you. I'll grab a seat by the window.
Of course. Enjoy.
All right, so how did that go? Be honest with yourself, because that accent is no joke. Even people who are very comfortable with standard British English can find Birmingham quite tricky at first.
It really is its own thing. And what I find interesting about that conversation specifically is that the vocabulary was completely manageable. Nothing unusual, nothing technical. Flat white, almond croissant, keep the change, everyday stuff. The challenge was purely in the sound.
Exactly. And that is kind of the point, because in real life, nobody is going to slow down for you. Nobody is going to switch accents because you look confused. So the earlier you start exposing your ear to variety, the better off you are going to be.
A couple of things worth pointing out from the conversation. Oliver says, I reckon that's fair enough. I reckon is very natural British English for I think or I believe. Very common, especially in casual speech, and you'll hear it across different regions.
And Harriet says, "Go on then," when she agrees to the croissant. That is a very British way of saying, "All right, yes, I'll do it." Not really a full yes, more like a reluctant but happy yes.
Yes, exactly. Go on then is almost like saying, you twisted my arm. And then there's as a one-off, meaning just this once, not as a regular thing. That phrase comes up a lot in everyday British English, and it's a useful one to have.
So, if you caught all of that, the accent, the expressions, the general flow of the conversation, honestly, well done. That's a real achievement, and you should feel good about it. It means your ear is genuinely developing.
And if you struggled, completely fine. That's not a sign that something is wrong. It's a sign that you found the exact thing you need to keep practicing. Go back, listen again, and notice how much more you pick up the second or third time. It always gets easier.
Quick thing before we move on. If you have been enjoying this episode, if any of it has clicked for you, it would genuinely mean a lot if you left a like and subscribed. It helps more people find the podcast, and it lets us know that this is worth keeping going.
And if you have a friend who is learning English right now, share this with them. Real conversations, real accents, real language. That is what we are going for here.
All right. Last topic of the day, and it is a good one.
So, we are going to talk about third conditionals and mixed conditionals. And I know that sounds like grammar class, but stick with us because once these click, they are incredibly useful. You hear them all the time in real conversations and films and everyday speech.
Let's start with the third conditional. This one is all about the past, imagining a different past, a situation that did not happen, and what would have been different if it had. The structure is if plus the past perfect, then would have plus the past participle.
So, for example, if I had studied harder, I would have passed the exam. The exam already happened. You did not pass, but you're imagining the version where you studied more. That is the third conditional, looking back at the past and thinking, what if?
Another one. If she had left earlier, she would not have missed the train. She missed the train, she left too late. We're just reflecting on what could have been different. It's almost a little melancholy when you think about it.
A little bit, yeah. Now, mixed conditionals are where it gets more interesting. A mixed conditional connects a past condition to a present result, or the other way around.
The first type, past condition, present result, if I had taken that job, I would be living in New York right now. You did not take the job, you're not in New York. 2 time frames, 1 sentence.
The second type, present condition, past result. If I were more confident, I would have spoken up in that meeting. You are not a confident person right now. You did not speak up. Again, 2 time frames, 1 sentence.
And what makes these feel natural is that people use them all the time without thinking about the structure. The goal is to get to that point, too.
So what we want to do now is let you hear all of this in a natural conversation. No grammar labels, no pauses, just the language, the way it actually sounds.
Let's play it.
So, it's true then. You actually said no.
I did, yeah.
Dom, that was a senior position in Amsterdam with a relocation package. How did you just say no to that?
I know how it sounds, but honestly, the timing was off. My mom had just come out of hospital, the flat situation was still a mess. It just wasn't the right moment.
I get that, I do, but if you had taken it, you would be set right now, like properly set. That kind of role does not come around very often.
No, I know, and believe me, I have thought about it more times than I'd like to admit. If I had known the recovery was going to go as smoothly as it did, I probably would have at least had a proper conversation with them about it. But at the time, I genuinely did not know how long she was going to need me around.
That is completely fair. I am not having a go, I promise. I remember how excited you were when you first told me about it, and then the week after, it was gone.
Yeah, it happened fast. And look, part of me wonders if I were a different kind of person, someone who could just pack up and go without overthinking everything, I would have said yes without a second thought. But that is just not how I'm wired.
I actually think that is one of the things I respect most about you. Most people would not have made that call. They would have taken the money and figured out the rest later.
Maybe, but I would have spent the whole time feeling guilty about it, and that is no way to start something new. If I had gone feeling like that, I don't think it would have worked out well anyway.
Probably not, no. So what now? Are you still at the same place?
For the moment, yeah. But something else has come up, actually. A smaller company, fully remote, and the project is genuinely interesting. It is not Amsterdam, but it feels right in a way that one never quite did, even before everything happened with my mom.
See, that is the thing. If you had left back then, you would never have even heard about this one.
That is exactly what I keep telling myself, whether it's true or not. It helps.
Sometimes that's enough.
Yeah, sometimes that's enough.
And there it is. Third and mixed conditionals in a real conversation, and not once did it feel like a grammar lesson. Dominic says, if I had known, I would have had that conversation. That is your third conditional, clean and natural, coming straight out of genuine emotion.
And then he says, if I were a different kind of person, I would have said yes without a second thought. That is your mixed conditional, present condition, past result. He is talking about who he is right now and connecting it to a decision he made in the past.
What I love about that exchange is that neither of them is trying to use complicated language. They're just talking about a real situation, and the structure comes out naturally because that is what the moment calls for.
Which is the whole point. You do not learn these by memorizing a formula. You learn them by hearing them enough times that they start to feel like the obvious way to say what you mean. And that's exactly what you are doing right now, just by listening.
All right, and that brings us to the end of today's episode. We covered a lot. The ough words, accents, and conditionals. And if even one of those things landed for you today, then this episode did its job.
Honestly, thank you for spending this time with us. We know you could be doing 100 other things, and the fact that you chose to use this time to work on your English, that genuinely means something. We do not take that lightly.
If you want to go back and review anything, the conversations are all there to replay as many times as you need. There is no rush. Take what works for you and come back whenever you are ready.
We will see you in the next one. Keep listening, keep practicing, and remember, every time you understand something you would not have understood before, that is real progress, even if it doesn't feel like it yet.
Take care of yourselves, everyone. See you next time.